You've watched our videos, you know where you want to live, but now what? Most of our clients are buying from out of state. They're either PCSing in or they're coming in on the weekends to look at homes. That causes a lot of stress during the buying process. And because of that, we created a 5-step process to get our buyers under contract. These are the 5 steps to get more out of buying on the Emerald Coast. Step 1 is the intake call. This is where we learn everything about you and your goals while moving to the Emerald Coast. Step 2 is all about the lender connection. This is getting you pre-approved and understanding what buying power you have to buy a home here on the Emerald Coast. Step 3 is all about building the systems so that we ensure that you have an easy buying process. Step 4 is the home search. This is where we qualify and disqualify homes that meet the criteria for you to see, and we do all of that work before we look at the house so we know what we're getting into. Step 5 is making the offer and educating our buyers on how the contract works. And then finally, once we're under contract, I'll explain that process at the end as well. All right, guys, let's break it down. Step 1 is the intake call. And this isn't a 10-minute phone call. This is an hour-long video conference where we go over the entire buying process. First, we want to learn about you. We want to learn about what your wants, what your needs, and what we call your non-negotiables are. So once we go through your wants, what you would like in a house, what you need for your family, and then the things that you cannot live without or your non-negotiables, we'll move into the education portion of the buyer consultation. And by the end of this call, you'll know everything you need to know to buy a home on the Emerald Coast and the next steps forward. Step 2 is the lender connection. To buy a home and to show houses on the Emerald Coast, we need to be pre-approved. This tells us how much buying power you have to buy your next home. And how do we do that? Well, we're going to connect you with one of our preferred lenders, depending on the type of home you're looking to buy and the type of loan you're going to use. We have lenders that are VA loan experts, conventional loan experts. We have some creative financing and hard money people for our investors. And we're going to connect you with the right lender that meets your personality and your goals. And why does this matter? Understanding your buying power before we start looking at homes helps us narrow down what homes qualify in what areas. And if you're already working with a lender, that's great. We will connect with that lender and make sure that everybody is on the same page and working towards your goals. Step 3 is building your systems. And this is where I really think that the Be More Group shines. See, we have a process built for our buyers that live out of state because we understand that buying a home from afar is stressful. And if you're not organized, that makes it 10 times worse. So what we do is we create your collaboration center so you can like properties and we can do the research to make sure those properties qualify for you to buy. Next, we're going to create your Be More buyer folder. That's going to keep everything that we do organized, and you'll be able to look at those documents 24/7. So if you work nights or you have an early morning that you need to see something, you don't have to rely on us sending an email. Everything is centrally located in your Be More buyer folder. And third, we're going to do a thorough analysis on the area that you want to buy, and we're going to present that data in your Be More buyer folder. So that's anything from flood zones, school zones, potential HOAs of neighborhoods that you're interested in, anything that you need to know to simplify the buying process and take one less stress off of you. So by the time we start showing homes, the system's in place and everybody understands how it works. So real quick, we want to be your agent of choice on the Emerald Coast. At the Be More Group, we aim to be more than just agents. We aim to be a pillar of trust and a resource for you in the home buying process here in Northwest Florida. So reach out at the link below or scan the QR code to hop on our calendar and have a conversation. All right, let's talk about number 4, and that is the home search. Step 4 is where your physical home search starts. And this step is just as much about disqualifying a home as it is qualifying a home, so that we're not wasting your time and energy looking at homes that you can't buy. Because here's the deal. I've seen time and time again where buyers fall in love with a home before we ever did the research, just to find out that the home is very overpriced or it needs a new roof and the sellers can't afford to put one on. So even if you love the home, you wouldn't be able to buy it. And that's why we do the research prior to showing. Before showing a home, we do 3 things. First, we review all of the documents and the agent notes. We put all of those documents in your Be More Buyer folder. Second, we're gonna run a rough value estimate on that property. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to show if the property is overpriced or if we're gonna be getting a deal. And we wanna know those things before you fall in love with a home. And third, we're confirming that that home will actually be insurable. And this is actually more of a problem than most people think. If the roof is too old or the wiring type doesn't qualify, insurance may not insure you. So even if the home is perfect for you, it still may not be able to be purchased in its current state. And we want to know that before we go look at the house so that we know what we need to negotiate for you. This step is meant to save you time. Okay, so we've qualified the house, now we're gonna go look at it. Again, we do 3 things during our showings to ensure that you have everything you need to make these tough decisions. First, if you're buying from out of state, we're going to do a live FaceTime call with you and go over everything at that property. Expect between 20 and 30 minutes per showing so that you make sure that you know everything about that home while looking at it from out of state. And the second thing we're going to do is record a walkthrough of that home for you to refer to later. So if you're on the fence about the property, but then you lay down and you can't stop thinking about that one house, you will have a video of it to go back, show your spouse, and decide if it really is the house for you. And third, we're going to create a list of all of the good, the bad, and the ugly at every property that you're interested in. We're going to take that list, we're going to put it into AI, and we're going to take all of the information we have about that home to create a synopsis for you to decide if it's the right home for you. In taking into account all of these things, it will help you make a better decision if this is the right home for you. Step 5 is making the offer. Step 5 is just as much about education as step 1. And what do I mean by that? Well, this may be the first offer that you ever sign to buy a home. It may be the first offer that you sign to buy a house in Florida. And we want to make sure that you understand what you're signing. So we're not just going to send you over the docs. We're going to hop on a video call and go over everything that you're signing so that you understand when you put your signature on that paper for the biggest decision that you may ever make. And I said paper, honestly, everything that you're going to sign is going to be digitally. So if you are out of state, everything that we do can be digitally signed and certified. And once you've signed, we'll send that offer out to the listing agent, and our preferred lenders always call them as well. They're letting them know that you are a qualified buyer and that we're serious about making this offer. All right, we did such a good job that now you're under contract. Let's break that down and go over the under contract to closing process. I'm going to create an entire video on this process, so I just want to break it down really quickly so that you understand what comes next. When I think about going under contract and all of the moving parts, I think of it as a 3-lane highway. Each person in the closing process will stay in their lane as much as possible. So lane 1 is what I call the lender lane. This is where the lender is communicating with the buyer to get all of the documents that they need to qualify them for the home purchase. Yes, you have a pre-approval, but that's just a really quick look at your financials to make sure that you can buy a home. Once you're under contract, the lender is going to do a forensics analysis of your bank accounts. To me, it's almost an invasion of privacy, but they're going to go through to make sure that you have the money and the ability to close this deal. And the second lane is the title company lane. The title company is who will hold your earnest money and is a neutral third party in the closing process. And the title company's job is to make sure that the home can be sold, to make sure that the owner is who they say they are, to make sure there are no liens on the property, and to make sure that title is clear. And title's a little bit different than you think of a title on a car. Title is the chain of ownership, and it shows that the person that owns the house has the right to sell that house, and there's no one else that actually owns it. And I mentioned earnest money really briefly. And earnest money is the money that you put down to secure the contract. In the state of Florida, that's normally 1% or $1,000, whichever is more. And the third lane is the agent lane, and this is where we shine. At the Be More Group, we don't just open the door and show you the house. We're doing a ton of things behind the scenes to make sure that you have a successful closing. Once you're under contract, we're going to start working in the background. We're going to schedule inspections, start coordinating insurance quotes, working with the lender to make sure that the home appraises of value. And if it doesn't, we're going to fight on your behalf to either negotiate the price down or get that value up by providing reasonable comps. We're going to be making sure that title handles all of the paperwork and everything is organized. You can think of the agent in this process. We're like the conductor of an orchestra. We're making sure that everyone is on the same page and getting their portion of the closing complete. So when closing day comes, you can walk in and sign the papers and own your new home. But if you can't come to closing, we can also do all of that remotely with our in-house mobile notary, or we can actually hire someone to come to your home and sign everything with you. All right, guys, that is the Be More buying process. And look, we want to earn your business and be your agent of choice on the Emerald Coast. At the Be More Group, we aim to be more than just agents. We aim to be a pillar of trust and education with all of our buyers, whether here or out of state. And these 5 steps help you buy with confidence, even if you're 1,000 miles away. We're not just realtors that are here to unlock doors. We're here to protect you in the buying process and make sure that you understand everything about buying a new home on the Emerald Coast. So reach out at the QR code, the link below, or just give us a call at the number on the screen so that we can connect with you and earn your business. Like, subscribe, all of the above. We'll see you on the next video and looking forward to working with you in the future.